Hey everybody, it's Alissa from Collins Hope. We are coming at you today to do a little update. Many of you know that every year, well, for the last 11 years, we have put on the Got2Swim event, which is typically an open water swim in Lake Austin. We've done it in Lake Travis once. And because of everything that's going on this year, we had to make the decision to take that event as well as our kids triathlon to a virtual event, which didn't seem like a thing we wanted to do, but now a week having made that decision, some really cool things are happening when we made it virtual. And one of those cool things, or that cool people that's now involved, is a good friend of mine and a good friend of Collins Hope and a huge advocate in water safety and drowning prevention who's joining me today. And that's Bob Pratt, and I think his dog Paco, who may make an appearance at some point. Yay! So Bob, welcome to the show. That's not really a show, but I feel like it is.
Thanks, Alissa. I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah, so let's talk first about how we met and your role in water safety and drowning prevention, because you've been doing this longer than me and do things, have done and are still doing a lot. So I want to talk a little bit about that first to give some context to who you are.
Sure. I started my career as a lifeguard. When I was in college, I learned how to swim and got a lot of encouragement as I was a very, very poor swimmer learning how to swim by the lifeguards at Michigan State University. And after I learned how to swim, there was really no stopping me. And I absolutely loved the water. And they encouraged me to become a lifeguard. And I thought, there's no way in the world I could ever do that. And then I truly fell in love with it. I made a rescue on my first month as a lifeguard. A young lady had a seizure in the pool, and we were able to recognize it and get her out of the pool and do CPR and resuscitate her. And it really became the focal point of my career. I went on to become an EMT and then a paramedic, and ended up working for the fire department. And I had an incident in 2003 where I took my son surfing on Lake Michigan. We have small waves on the lakes, and he was a young teenager at the time, 13 years old. And as we pulled into the park in Grand Haven, Michigan, there was a Coast Guard helicopter flying overhead and rescue boats in the water. And it became very obvious to me as a firefighter paramedic that there was a body recovery going on. And it's about an hour and a half drive from my house. So we stayed for a short period of time watching. My son had a lot of questions about what was happening, what they were doing and how this could have happened. And I noticed a group of people on the beach with one of the police officers, probably a dozen and a half people. And it struck me that this easily could have been my child. Mm. And then I started wondering, because it's not the first time I'd been to the beach where there'd been a drowning recently. And so I thought, how often does this happen on the Great Lakes? And it was 2003, so the internet was a thing, and a lot of people had personal computers. And so I set out to find out how many drownings happened on the Great Lakes, and there was no number. We didn't know. And we still have that problem with data. We still have a problem with tracking the number of drownings that actually occur due to some strange things. But it really got me wondering. And so I started to just keep track on my own, just because of newspaper reports. Mm-hmm. And that led to a interest in the surfing community, and the windsurfing community, and the paddling community. People were like, look, I saw this happening and I didn't know what to do. So we started an organization, the Great Lakes Surf Rescue Project. And we started to teach surfers and windsurfers and stand-up paddleboarders and other water people how to safely make rescues, recognize somebody in trouble, and then make rescues. And it's really grown since then. And about 2010, we started keeping track formally, because nobody else was tracking drownings on the Great Lakes. And so we started saying, well, look, this is what we're going to do. This is one of the things that we're going to do as one of our core missions. And since 2010, there have been over 871 fatal drownings on the Great Lakes. So in just over 10 years, there's been nearly 900. And this time of year, that number goes up almost daily. We had another drowning in Chicago yesterday. We have an individual missing and presumed drowned in South Haven. So there's a body recovery effort going on right there, and it's heartbreaking. And as you know, all of us in drowning prevention know that it's not just one person. When I say there's 871 fatal drownings on the Great Lakes, that's just a tiny slice of the impact that this has,
Right.
because every one of those people had a mother and a father. Many of them had brothers and sisters. Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
And I commend you for going through the book, and it's a wonderful way to honor all of these people and their families and their memories. I wish I could swim 871 miles. I mean, in the what's left of my lifetime, I could start today, swim a mile a day, and it would take me years, and by then we'd have another 100 or 200 or 300, and for all of these people, like I said, there's mothers and fathers and loved ones that will never be the same, and you know that, and
Yep.
so that's kind of how I got involved, and then that led to working with the National Drowning Prevention Alliance and meeting wonderful people like you, and all the people involved in PA, and all the other organizations around the country, and we share this bond, and you and I are so fortunate that we weren't directly affected. It wasn't one of our children that drowned, and so I have a special love for all the families in Families United, and I have a special love for all the people who take on this challenge, even though they haven't been super directly affected by these drownings.
Right. Well, I know. So you talked about the NDPA, the National Drowning Prevention Alliance. And so Bob and I often, when we go to those conferences, we find a pool to swim in together at 5 o'clock in the morning. And we usually dragged Kim Tyson with us, which I'm hoping that I can get him to do this virtual Got2Swim. And so I know for a couple of years, I've been wanting you to actually come in person and do this Got2Swim. And I think you were attempting to make your way here this year, and then this all happened. So now we'll do this year virtual, and I think it's amazing because right now you're in Phoenix, correct? Or you're in Arizona?
I am. I'm just north of Phoenix in a small town.
Okay.
So it's a real challenge. I had planned to be back in the Great Lakes region, doing work and enjoying the fantastic Great Lakes that we have that are truly spectacular. But yeah, I'm stuck in Phoenix. Not a bad place to be stuck in if you're going to be stuck somewhere.
Where are you swimming or paddling? Because I know you're going to do some paddling as well, right? I know maybe not 871 miles, but do you have a goal for this?
I don't have a goal. I am because I'm
Let's
old.
set one.
And so I typically swim 3 or 4 days a week. I typically paddle 3 or 4 days a week. I typically hike 2 or 3 days a week, and do yoga whenever I can, mix it into my schedule. And unfortunately, living in Arizona, you're a little bit forced by the weather to decide what you're going to do. We're coming into monsoon season, so on days where it's 110 degrees, paddling a kayak, a surf ski is really out of the question. So I may go swimming those days. The pools have been opened and closed. So if they close, I do have an open water area that I can swim in. So I'm kind of playing it by ear, but I try to get out 6 days a week at least, and I'm dedicating all of my activities toward people who have lost loved ones, predominantly on the Great Lakes. Today's swim, I'll be at a pool swim, will be for Zach Haskert, who is a 9-year-old boy who drowned in Lake Huron in a beautiful area called the Georgian Bay. And his mother, Melissa Haskett, has created a legacy for him, as many parents have done, where she, to deal with the grief in the middle of the night when she'd wake up after nightmares, she would braid bracelets, the beautiful friendship bracelets, and she sells them, and she uses 100% of the proceeds to go to providing swim lessons for people in the small community of Wasaga Beach, and she has sponsored over 1,500 kids to learn how to swim. in her small community, partnering with the YMCA by selling these bracelets. And it
Wow.
is simply unbelievable. And there's so many stories like this. John
Yeah.
and Kathy Coker lost their only son Matthew, a 15-year-old in Lake Michigan to a rip current, and they've sponsored hundreds and hundreds of school events where the Great Lakes Surf Rescue Project has done programs. And Melissa Zirkle, I swam for Jermaine,
Yep.
her son, last week. She sponsored all kinds of things. She was doing spaghetti dinners, and she does candlelight vigils, and just the problem of drowning, again, as you know, we're preaching to the choir, but hopefully if there are people out there who aren't aware, it's
Yes.
the leading cause of accidental death in kids 1 to 4. It's the second leading cause of accidental death in kids 15 and under. It is a huge problem, and it is so difficult to get across to people that 99% of these drownings are preventable.
Yep.
And simple, the actions that the Great Lakes Surf Rescue Project, the actions that Collins Hope is able to do is just outstanding work. And any time that we can support that, we need to do anything that we can do to make sure that we just end these numbers, so that booklet that you're holding up just every year there's more and more
Yep.
families involved in that, and it's just
I know the book that I have right now. So today my swim, because I went to the pool, was for Abby Grace Warren, who actually Abby Grace is a non-fatal drowning survivor. So as Bob mentioned, I'm working my way through this Families United to Prevent Drowning Stories collection, and the book that I have here has about, I don't know, maybe there's 650 in here, and the one that's online, which is the one that is the most up to date at this moment, has 69 individuals in it. So I'm working my way through, and I'm going to do at least 70 miles. I'm going to do 69 for everyone who's in there, and then my 70th is going to be for the drowning we want to prevent. And so that's kind of my thing. And I've been doing, like you said, wherever I can. I was at the ocean, and I was able to get in a 5-mile swim one day and a 2-mile swim another day. I didn't count those though, because this hadn't started yet. So I wish that I had, but this morning I swam a mile plus in the pool. That's about all I can do in the pool before I start to lose it. And then I will swim on Sunday. I've got an open water swim. I'll do 2 or 3 miles. And so each of these miles, you're choosing to dedicate to in honor of people that you know and families and I'm also doing the same thing. And some of our other swimmers and paddlers, I was reading their pledge pages. So we each set up a pledge page on the Collins Hope website, and there's a $150 minimum for this swim. It's usually $500. So I'm challenging people to set their goals higher. This is a time when the drownings are still happening. Unfortunately, the work is still happening, but the donations are not coming in at the normal rate because of the pandemic. So I'm challenging people to, set their pledge goals higher. But I went through and I was reading all the pledge pages this morning, and I know because you and I discussed it, what you were planning on doing, and I know what I'm doing. But I went through and I was reading. There are some people signing up who I don't know. There are people new to Collins Hope, and one of them learned to swim as an adult, and then also she's swimming in honor of a coworker's daughter who has actually just had a non-fatal drowning incident recently, who's at Texas Children's Hospital fighting for her life, and that's who Kim Gutierrez is swimming for. I wouldn't have known that except that I read her pledge page, and there's a whole host. There's 3 right now. I'm hoping it ends up being more, but 3 high school kids who are lifeguards at my local pool. They swim for the local high school and the local swim club, and they did the Got2Swim in the lake 3 years ago, but they're participating in the virtual, and they've all chosen to swim for kids that are in the book. A couple of them chose to swim for the Connor Gage and Alissa Rami, who are their age. We just lost Bob. Not sure what happened. Jessica will get him back on, but it's very motivating to hear why people are doing what they're doing, why they're swimming or paddling miles for Collins Hope. And what that means to them and what motivates them. Because when you get in there and you're swimming 1 mile, 2 miles, 3 miles at a time, I know I need something to motivate me. So I know on my 5-mile swim that I just did, I said the names of these children and people over and over that time when it got tough. So we lost Bob. So I guess I will close this out because we're at about the time that we like to do. But this is such an amazing journey. Oh, you're back. Okay, I'm about to close it out, but I'm really glad that you're able to participate now that it's virtual. And I think that this is opened up to more people, to include more people because it's virtual. So it's not just on one day, and we're doing it from now, which was, when we started it a week ago, through September 1st. And then we're going to do some type of a closing ceremony on September 2nd, which is Colin's birthday. And so we're just all getting in all the miles that we can. I'm hoping to make it to 70. I imagine with your swimming and your paddling, you're gonna pass me up on that. But
absolutely.
But this is such an amazing thing. So every dollar that we raise will go towards drowning prevention, and it's such important work. And as you mentioned, Bob, drowning is the #1 cause of unintentional death for children under 5 and a leading cause for ages 1 to 14. And it doesn't stop there. We lose adults and older kids to drowning. No one is drown proof. You're not, I'm not. I know I've had my own story in a race, Xterra World Championship race of thinking that I was going to drown. And so this is a message for everyone. So thank you, Bob. I'm so glad that you're going to be out there. I'll be sending you your cap. This is the new cap right here.
Right.
Thanks to Swim Outlet. And this right here, because we're all in the land of wearing face coverings, we have the
beautiful.
Yeah, we have the best day ever buff, right? So you can wear it like all different ways. You'll be getting one of those, and we'll be sending that out to you. But thanks for participating, and thank you for the work that you do. You're one of my favorite humans on the planet, and I'm proud to work beside you in water safety.
My pleasure. Thank you very much, Alissa.
All right, everybody, have the best day ever. Let's go swim.